Today is the start of maple syrup season, and we're going to show you how to turn what you just saw into this. But first, we have the snowblower path to the trees to make transporting a lot easier. And it's pretty packed down right here. Hoping that this will be the most difficult area. Get that away from the tree. We'll have to go slow through here. I would say we're snowblowing through about 2 feet of snow. If you've watched any of our other videos, especially with our meat birds on the fields, this is about the area where they were. Oh, it's getting thick through here. I'm glad that I cut the lower branches along here last fall. It makes it a lot easier to drive under here. Okay, there's one tree and there's a second tree up here. All right, so you can see here that it was probably 2 feet. Now we have a good walking trail, and probably the deer will even enjoy the exposed grass. My first deer that I shot on this property was right about here. Looks like I scraped the ground. So I'm using a 5/16 drill bit, and I've marked it 2 inches. I probably won't go in that far. But that's my as deep as I'd like to go. Now on a smaller tree like this, I probably won't go that far. And we're at the back edge of our property, so you'll probably see some snowmobilers go by. I would say this trail is probably 2 or 3 acres away from our house. So I was taught that the hole for tapping trees should be under a branch. And you can see here, we have a branch that I cut off last fall so I could mow under here. And then we have a larger branch up there. So obviously I'm not going that high. I'll go right about here and we'll see how this works. Now this tree here is an actual sugar maple. The trees that we have tapped out front were just regular maples and they tasted fine, but this is an experiment for us. I like to go at an upward angle. I clean out all the sawdust. And I'm actually impressed about fall of next year. This hole will be mostly scarred over. And then next year, if we do tap this tree, we'll probably just tap it from one side to the other, maybe higher, maybe lower. All right, so now that we made the hole, just gently tap that in. And if the sun's been on the tree long enough for the day, it'll actually start dripping, which I don't think is going to drip yet. A few days later,
I'm getting ready to make maple syrup. The first step is we grab a big pot and gather up the buckets of sap. First thing that I do is I put a cloth over the bucket or the pot and I just clip it so it stays on, because what I'm going to do is pour the sap into this just to strain out any bugs or any bark or anything that flew into the sap bucket. So I have one of our sap buckets. I'm going to go ahead and strain it. There we are. Here's another bucket. And this should fill the pot for the most part. All right, sap was pretty clean, but you can see a little bit of like a pine needle and looks like some bark pieces that may have flew in, but other than that, I don't see any bugs, which is good.
So we have a 25,000 BTU boiler. And I usually put this almost wide open. And that'll probably go for 2-3 hours. Then once it boils down to about, I don't know, I'm gonna say probably 3 inches, or once it's darker, we'll bring it inside and do the final boil.
Right now I am testing to see if the maple syrup is ready. I have a little trick here that I do with the spoon. You just give it a little stir, watch the droplet, and if you see a little string, which is just about ready to do that. Let me do this again here. All right, here's the spoon trick. Got to watch that little bit that is dripping, and as you can see, it hangs on a little bit and then drops down. So right there, see how it kind of is a little sticky on the spoon? It's hanging right on. There we go. It's ready. So this is the trick that I use, because you can tell it's sticky. So right now I'm just cleaning off the top of the jar, and the way that I seal this is I put the lid on and the ring. Close it tight. And I always make sure that there's no spacing in between here. You don't want a warped lid at all. And then what you do is turn it upside down, let it sit there, and it seals the jar.